A round of applause, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, that's an intro. Nice to see you all. I think it's very important for us to be back in, having physical sessions where we discuss things that really interest us in the tech world. So, karibuni sana. Unfortunately, I don't have my full panel on stage. The rest will be joining us virtually. On stage, I have a handsome gentleman by the name Isaac Mwangi from Miradi Capital. Maybe you can just say hi as we start.
Hello, everybody. I'm really excited to be here and hope that you're going to have a lovely time together.
Awesome. I don't know if I have the rest of my panelists on virtually. Oh, hi guys. So I have with me Robert Nyamu from Ernst & Young, East Africa, Darren Franks, and Imran. Maybe we can start with Robert. Just say hi before we start the conversation.
Hi, Anita. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Robert. Darren?
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Darren. I'm dialing in from very sunny Cape Town this morning, so pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darren. Imran?
Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here and looking forward to the engagement. Thank you.
Nice to see you guys. And Imran, I've seen you. The last time I saw you, you didn't have such a huge beard. I think it's some of the effects of COVID. So thank you, gentlemen, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. And we're going to have a very interesting discussion around digital transformation. So I guess all of us understand the power of digital transformation, which has actually been powered a lot by the emerging technologies that we have, yeah? And one of the key technologies here we're going to talk about, of course, is the cloud environment, yeah? So our panel discussion is mainly going to be around how are we then empowering the key people who drive this digital transformation using all these emerging technologies that we have, yeah? There's a report I read by McKinsey that says that as human beings, we always resist change, isn't it? So how are we able to incorporate, employees and, the different stakeholders in that process of digital transformation, yeah, to be able to be, apart from just the digital skills that they need to run the technology, just to be aware around security and how all that is important, even as we develop products in this space. I think one of the things that Kunle mentioned this morning is that security should be at the heart of any design that we do in our applications, etc. All right. So we want to discuss that today. So I'm going to pose the first question. How do we incorporate digital transformation in our organization so that we ensure that everyone, is carried along that very important process for corporates? So I'll start with my the person who's here with me on stage. Isaac, maybe you can comment on that.
How do we incorporate everybody in the digital transformation? According to a research done by MIT, they say that only 36% of management actually explain the changes that are about to come. And that one really leaves people without knowing exactly what's going to happen to them. So the first thing that needs to happen is management must share their vision very clearly as to how they want to bring these digital changes, what they want to bring, and possibly the effects that's going to have to the organization. Because technically, if at all you are digitizing a process, it either has to be made longer or shorter. We need to have lesser of more people in the process, in the process, or in the structure, or the whole structure has to be restructured once again. So communication from management is very, very important. Yeah.
Okay, I'll pose the same. We'll hear comments also from Robert. Maybe you can go first on this.
Yeah, thanks, Anita. So I think This is an interesting one, and I think one of the critical things that people don't consider when they're looking at a digital transformation journey is the people element, and in actual fact, it's probably one of the most critical aspects in terms of getting this right. So I think the first thing that you need to start with, and if I can just break it up that way, is that the people aspect to this must be looked at from getting so you need the right people to get the strategy right. So the first thing you have to get is the strategy right, which determines the business model that you're going to run. It determines everything thereafter in terms of building your transition plan to your new context in terms of that digital transformation. So you need to have a strategy to get buy-in from the entire organization, from those charged with governance to senior management, and all the way down to the people who are going to be users in the new context once the organization has been transformed. And the idea here is not to over-democratize the process, because if you do that, most people, as you mentioned earlier, yourself, Anita, is that most people are resistant to change. So the whole idea is that you need to get the right people in the room, have the right strategy to drive the way forward, and then get the process of buy-in for the rest. Because if you democratize the process and ask, people, do you want this change? How do you want to move forward? 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 will vote not to change, and that has been borne out of experience. And so you need to strike that balance between having the right strategy and getting the buy-in all the way from the board to the shop floor, but not over-democratize the process. You need to get buy-in rather than over-democratize, because most people resist change. I think that's one of the critical things that I can mention, Anita.
Thank you, Robert. Imran, your comments on this?
Thank you there, Anita. I think digital transformation is here to stay. I think it's a big driver for business. When you sit and engage with executives, their mission is to drive, the next growth in the business, the next new geo for the business. Many times, as we work with some of our key clients, we find a disconnect between the vision and the actual execution of the transformation journey on the ground. And this is and many times I see it as it not being clearly described to the team on the ground, or the team not buying into the concept, or sometimes the fear that the automation that transformation brings may cause job losses. Like my colleagues on the panel are now describing, it's very, very critical to get the buy-in from the actual user of the transformation journey. So the people who sit on the grassroots, who are now going to be using the technology, the processes, the business systems to drive the business forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Imran. Darren? Sorry, Darren, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
How many times have we heard that over the last couple of years, hey? So I think it's about timing. I think it's about engaging employees at the early stages of the digital transformation program. What does it mean to them? What tasks are they doing that's maybe mundane, that can be automated using technology? How could their roles be helped? Could they do more interesting things if certain things were automated? So I think it's about involving people really, really early on in that whole transformation journey. So I'd echo what the other chaps have said on the panel this morning, but I think timing is very key as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I share the same sentiments with you gentlemen. So I work for a Pan-African financial institution based in Botswana. So given that digital transformation is at the heart of our strategy, we actually formed what we call the Digital Academy in Botswana, Gaborone. And the main aspect actually is to empower our communities and also organizations to be able to, have the right skills to be able to go through this process of digital transformation. So it's very important for organizations, and I echo a lot what the whole panel has mentioned, in empowering employees with the right skills that will help this process actually become successful. So when we talk about cloud and security, I think these are very important topics, especially in this space of digital transformation. Are they mutually exclusive? How then do we incorporate them in ensuring that our employees, the people in the organization driving this transformation, have the right tools and attitude towards these two key topics? Yeah, so maybe Isaac, you can start.
Okay, the best way to make sure that they have the right attitude and they're thinking security, even in terms of cloud, the first thing is training. Once you clearly define what's about to happen and you define the transformation journey that you're about to take, you even show them what the risks are if we do not take care of our security. What most organizations that I've worked for used to do, we would actually go and visit a company that has actually taken that journey. And by so doing, the peer-to-peer discussions, people will tell you what they've gone through in terms of data losses because of sharing passwords, data losses because of logging into just any cyber cafe and connecting to the cloud. And this actually helps the people to start preparing from the word go and put in security as part of the digitization projects. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Darren, you can talk about this, and especially, actually, are they mutually exclusive, cloud and security? And how are you enabling organizations in this journey, in your capacity right now?
Well, in my capacity, so I run a search firm that focuses predominantly on the fintech market, and a large number of requirements we get are from organizations in the fintech sector that are looking for CISOs, or they're looking for heads of security or security architects. So I think it's definitely at the forefront. I know Harry earlier on was talking about the fintech sort of boom, and I think it's absolutely critical to all of these fintechs that they have security, because ultimately it's about trust. The whole sector is about trust, and it's really important. I think just following on from what Isaac was saying, though, if I may, there was a Gartner report, and it said 70% of people surveyed found that they didn't have the skills required for today, and 80% didn't have the skills required for tomorrow, so for their future careers. And that comes in terms of IT security and awareness of that. So I think a big part of this is training and awareness, and that comes from not just the IT departments, but that comes from anyone that's operating any type of endpoint, whether it be they're sitting on a shop floor using a POS, or they're sitting behind a desk and crunching numbers on spreadsheets and using the Microsoft tools and what have you. So I think it's really important that people do have an awareness and an understanding of what potential security breaches are and what best practices are around those to try and mitigate any of those breaches happening.
Cool, thanks Darren. Imran, how are you supporting the organizations that you work with in this, specifically to what we're talking about?
Yeah, so digital transformation again is a very interesting topic, and I think one of the biggest accelerators for digital transformation is the cloud. So what the cloud has done is it's simplified our ability to roll out, tech that can enable business to move faster. And if you were listening to my colleagues earlier on before the panel, you heard John and Gary explain. We are now in an era where you can't see your cloud, you can't touch your cloud. You may be sitting in Nairobi, but you're using a cloud platform somewhere in Ireland. The biggest challenge we have here is, as customers move to the cloud, they are finding it very easy to roll out transformation systems. And as they do that, they're now starting to put their data out there. They're starting to expose their organizations. And the biggest challenge we have, like my colleagues on the panel are explaining, is the skill set. When we as Fortinet sit with our customers and discuss their cloud journey, we find that usually cybersecurity is the last discussion in the cloud transformation journey. And we then try and guide them and assist them into trying to make sure security is the first discussion before we move them out to the cloud. So a huge skill gap. I think that problem may still be around for a while, but we work closely with customers to ensure that their transformation in the cloud is successful. Thank you.
Thanks, Imran. Robert?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Anita. I think, not to repeat what my colleagues have said on the panel, I agree with a lot of what they're saying. So I think one of the key things as a consultant, as an advisor in this particular space that I can mention is that I find one of the most critical things that you need to have is you need to have a very clear roadmap of where you're going. So the first thing, you need to know where you are in your journey. So the first answer to your question, are the two mutually exclusive in terms of cloud and security? Absolutely not. In fact, if anything, with a clear roadmap of where you are and where you want to go and how you're going to get there and everything that you need to put in place, to get to your future state, you actually should result in an enhanced, security posture. But that's not easy. And the reverse is also true. That if you jump into the journey without a clear roadmap, where am I right now? Where are my where our security kind of gaps as you speak right now, whether you're in hybrid or completely on-prem, and you've been fraternizing the idea of going to cloud, you need to know where you are, where those gaps are, and then what your roadmap looks like in the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, as you transition to cloud, in an accelerated or a very gradual manner, and what you need to have in place as you do that. And back to the topic of today, as you discuss that transformation and the roadmap that gets you there, the people element is absolutely critical. You need to do a skills assessment now, and look at what that needs to look like in a year's time, what that needs to look like, in 3 years' time, 5 years' time. Bearing in mind, as you speak right now, there's already a skills shortage. So as you accelerate into the future, you need to be aware how you're going to do that. How am I going to reskill the organization to be security conscious, to have all the right building blocks in place as we move towards our 2-3 year journey. So I think one of the most critical things that I see missing, in some of the clients and organizations as they're taking this journey, is a clearly thought out roadmap of exactly how they need to get to the future state and exactly what they need to do around the technology, the processes, the people, and the data aspects of that transformation journey. So no, they're not mutually exclusive. If anything, they're complementary, and you probably end up with an enhanced security posture if you follow a very well thought out and graduated journey to that future state.
All right, thank you, Robert. Darren?
Anita, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to excuse myself. We're running a bit late and I've got a call that I have to jump onto, so I'm really sorry. But thank you very much for hosting me this morning, and thank you to CIO Africa and Harry for putting on such a great event. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Darren. So maybe along the same topic around, because I think we're talking about mainly, people within the organization. But we understand how a security breach in an application that a customer uses can have a huge reputational risk for an organization. Yeah. Therefore, there is also need to actually empower, our customers on the technology that they're actually using from a security perspective. So maybe I can hear your comments around this. How are we educating our customers around, certain security measures that we take even as we develop these journeys in digital transformation?
Actually, whenever you develop a system that is customer facing, as the Fortinet guy was saying, you need to involve your security guys in the architecture and then the design. Because the moment you launch that product, you're already exposed if at all your system is not secure. The first thing that you do whenever you want to do such a thing is to first of all qualify the people who are allowed to log into the system. Because you won't just allow anybody to just come click and join. You'll have to maybe add several layers of identifying who is actually going to log to a system, get them verified by their own company, and if possible, even take a third party to validate them. Number two, you can even maybe add things like certificate on their end so that the connectivity is not just from any other machine, but the few that you'll have authenticated and allowed to join your application. And third, and which will be my last one, is they need to be trained. You have to train them both on the application and also on security matters.
I like that. I think we, as an organization, we really focus on getting a beautiful user experience to customers, but we lose focus on actually empowering that customer to use that technology, that channel, in the right way, for them to be able to also, secure whatever investments they have and they're using within your application. So maybe we can take a comment on this from you, Robert, as well, even as we end the panel.
Yeah, thanks, Anita. So I think Isaac has touched on it, which is the first thing is security is not an afterthought. Security is actually, a very, very critical aspect and pillar in any digital transformation journey. So you need to bake it into the process right from the beginning. So people, it's almost become cliche right now that security by design. But if you actually look at it, and I'm immersed in the sector and I'm involved in that, people are paying lip service to that. So they talk about security by design in terms of involving security right from the beginning of the design phase of whatever it is you're doing. In this particular case, you've talked about an application, but it can be anything, in that technology stack. So, but very few people are doing it, and that's a fact. So very few people are actually living that mantra of security by design, involving the security guys right at the beginning, baking the security concept into the entire ideation and visioning phase of whatever it is that you're designing, whether it's an application or an entire technology stack for whatever purpose, and then carrying that through. So as you do that, the other critical bit, once you, in addition to involving the security people right from the beginning of the design, when the users are actually ideating around how they see, how they'd like to see the new, how do they like to see the new systems working? Because you have to involve the users right at the beginning when you're doing the user requirements, you're doing the user requirements documentation, and all that stuff that we do right at the beginning. You need to have the two right there. So that's when the users, as you're thinking about your current processes, maybe you're looking at whether it's your current processes that you're migrating to a digital context, or they're already on a digital context and you're looking to upgrade that, whatever it is, or they're hybrid and you're looking to streamline that a bit more. The two need to come together right from the beginning. So the users are in that discussion because they're the ones who are going to use the system. So you need to involve them from the beginning. And as they are, giving their requirements in terms of how they see the system working for them in the future and etc., you involve the security guys there. And then discussion needs to start there. That in the past we were doing things this way. In the new redesigned security conscious kind of process with all the right controls in place, this is how it's going to look like and all that, and get their buy-in as you go. So at every gate within that transformation process, the users are aware that we used to do this and now we're going to have to do that, etc. That's why you see, for example, some users are very resistant to, those security controls when they're put in when they didn't get the buy-in. So for example, how many of us are very, keep saying, why do I have to do two-factor, authentication or three-factor authentication, etc., because they don't understand why those things are there. So the whole idea, and what I've seen is critical here, is to involve them from the beginning with the security guys in the room, live that mantra of security by design, so the users are aware why we're building certain things, or why the organization is building certain things in that digital transformation journey, and why the new processes, once the organization has transformed, or as the organization is transforming, are going to somewhat look different. And sometimes they may be a bit more uncomfortable than they were before, but it's for the betterment of the users and the organization, because the security imperatives cannot be left behind. They're not an afterthought that you come and look at once a project has been implemented, or once you've already transformed, and say, how do we bake in security now? It's already too late, and that's how you get a complete disconnect between what the users expect, the security imperatives, and having security embedded into the entire process, within that digital transformation journey. So there's a lot I can say about this, but in the few minutes, I hope I've been able to answer your question, Anita.
Yes,
Thanks.
and I'll take that also as your parting shot, because I think we've run out of time. So maybe, Imran, we can just hear your parting shot even as we close this because of time.
Okay, thank you. I think in the cyber world we have a huge skill gap. This skill gap is not going away anytime soon. The problem is we are moving so fast forward that organizations are not investing on cyber-ready individuals. So we find out there more infra-ready, app-ready, or network-ready individuals. And unfortunately, one of the initiatives we took was we have now made all our training absolutely free. So everyone on this call, everyone in this room today should go back to our website. All our cyber training now is available free of charge to everyone. And this idea was to try and see if we can help the global shortage on cyber professionals. This is helping quite a bit. I can tell you comfortably in Kenya, we now have a large professional set of people who understand cyber quite well, but the number is still too small. And we hope that everyone on this forum today will listen in and try and log in and do some of those free certifications that we are offering on our website. Thank you.
Oh, that's great, Imran. Thank you. Isaac, parting shot?
My parting shot is all organizations are different, and you cannot use one method to be able to do the change management. Yeah.
Like that. So thank you so much for listening in. I think we've really tried to thrash this topic, within the time limits that we have. But I think my parting shot is let's empower our all the stakeholders in the organizations we work in with the right skills they need to in the digital transformation journey, both on cloud and also in security. I like the fact that Imran has said that they have free courses that they are offering on their website for in this particular key matters on digital transformation. And also, I think all of us, if we were to, when we are interacting, we'll be able to share other things that we are doing within our organization to empower our employees, as well as the customers that we serve, where we derive a lot of value. So thank you so much for being a good crowd. I'm sorry I didn't get to get any questions from you, but I'm sure we'll be able to chat during the off sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.